Yeah, I completely agree that transitions are such a great effect and tool to use for videos, particularly with Reels, but don't go overboard. Don't
Yeah,
transition every single scene from left to
yeah,
right, up to down. It's not a music video. You're not Beyonce. We don't need to be doing transitions like it's a full movie production. I think
yeah,
sometimes, as you kind of hinted at, the simpler
yeah.
the better. For those that are just not joining, you are here on Behind the Gram watching the latest IG Live, and I am joined by Amy of The Social Mind. And we're discussing 5 tips to create top performing reels. And we're listening to somebody who's done it before. If you can, please go ahead and lead off with your first one.
Okay, so I'm going to go with when you batch. So for me, batching content's really important. When you batch your content, if you're purely only doing trending audio and using trending audio and you batch for a whole month, by the time it gets to posting that reel 2-3 weeks later down the line, it's no longer going to be trending anymore. So when it comes to batching content, I would always batch. I personally do it in a week in advance. At the moment, I am doing a lot of trends, to be honest, but I do want to mix it up with a lot of evergreen original content. And what I mean by that is content that if I post in 3 to 4 weeks, it's still going to be relevant and I'm not relying on a trend. I think a lot of people at the moment are relying on the trends and they do work, don't get me wrong, but make sure you have a mixture of original content that's evergreen, that's going to be fine if you post in like a month, 2 months, and it's super valuable, as well as having those trends as well. So a mixture of both.
I'm so glad you spoke up on that because I myself have learned that the hard way. I've actually just started last month doing exactly what you're actually suggesting. I do it now a week in advance instead of planning it out a month because I've run into that same issue. You go and you collect these trending audio and you save it for later, and by the time you use it, it's no longer trending. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. That was your first one. My first one would be to use a CTA or a call to action to suggest for the users to actually perform on the reel. CTA might come in the form of save this reel for later, share this with a friend, or something as simple as comment a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you agree or you don't agree. I think CTAs are really great because what it does is it tells the algorithm the person viewing it really likes this content enough to actually engage with. And Instagram wants that. If you could do anything on Instagram that makes a viewer stay on even a couple seconds longer, Instagram is going to reward you. And if they find that your reel is helping people stay on longer because they engage with it, they are going to reward you by pushing your content out even further. Give your viewers an opportunity to actually engage with call to actions. I think everybody's aware now. They gave you that new feature where you can now put stickers on reels. So go ahead and use those CTAs, whether it's on screen in text, whether it's in the captions, or using one of these stickers. What is your second tip, or the third overall tips to create top performing reels?
I guess structuring your reel correctly, and what I mean by that is initially having a hook and then having your main bulk of content and then a call to action, because I believe when you're doing a reel, your first 3 seconds are the most important because you need to grab the user's attention, and then the last 3 are really important as well, just to like a call to action. So you've got the poll stick, which is great, but even if you don't, you can write some text. For example, if you haven't given everything away in the reel, which I like to use this tactic, and then I write read caption for more information, that prompts them to read the caption, which kind of gets your reel seen more and more and more, which then gets pushed out to more people. So I think structuring it correctly, having a call to action as you mentioned, and making sure the content in there is maybe doesn't necessarily give everything away, but gives enough away for them to be intrigued to either read more or do an action.
In a way to kind of put it together, it's a storytelling aspect that you're telling them. You got the hook in the beginning, the CTA is the conclusion, but then you put the meat of the context and the value in the middle. I think that's really good. The importance of audio and video. And I think so many people kind of get hung up on the idea of what the reel is going to be, that sometimes we don't consider the simple things like audio. Like, could the person hear me well? Am I in a noisy environment? Is my visuals good? Am I in a dark room or am I fully lit? These are things that I think we should be really considering because, you know, if you're in the Reels Explorer page and you're scrolling and you come across a reel that you can't hear properly or you can't see, that reel is going to get skipped. You have to realize that these simple things of audio and video are really important. For lighting, get a ring light, make sure you are lit. My best option, if you're outdoors or near a window, that works best and it gives you the best optimum view, as well as, but you might want to use the camera on the back of the phone rather than the front, because the camera on the back of the phone, whether it's iPhone, Android, whatever, those are generally higher quality than the one on the front, the selfie camera. So that's something that you might want to do. If you're taking like a voiceover reel, it might be hard to do that, but according to the type of reel that you're filming. And audio, if you want to use a mic, that's not a problem. These are things to consider for reels because you want to get the best quality that you can.
Sometimes I see some reels where you can tell all they had to do was go to a window and it'll be like 10 times better. Persistent and using the tips to, I guess, get to where you want to be.
And speaking of tips, I shared all of mine and we are now on your last one. So what is your last tip in regards to the 5th tip in regards to tips to create top performing reels?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with transitions, and I don't mean crazy transitions. I mean like, because I think when you say transitions to people, they think it's going to be so, you know, you've got to dance, you've got to do loads of different things, but it doesn't even need to be that. Like, I don't do transitions on every single reel, by the way, but I feel like when I do, they really do work. So what I mean by transition is, for example, if I was to do a reel and then I clapped and then suddenly my outfit or my hair changed and I'm talking about something else, I guess, or it's generally to music. The transitions work really well with trending audios. So that's kind of what I mean by transitions, but they do work because I think anything that keeps your audience engaged, people are going to watch again and again, which then Instagram is going to push out your reel to more and more people. It is kind of that simple to an extent. I think that's my final tip. I think even just a slight transition, you could just do a little head turn. It could be something so small, but it definitely does work.
Yeah, I completely agree that transitions are such a great effect and tools to use for videos, particularly with reels, but don't go overboard. Don't transition every single scene from left to right, up to down. It's not a music video. You know, you're not Michael Jackson, you're not Beyonce. We don't need to be doing transitions like it's a full movie production. I think sometimes, as you kind of hint to that, the simpler the better.
Yeah, and also if you try to overcomplicate it, you're going to spend an hour or two trying to do one reel. So you've got to think from a time perspective as well. Is it worth your time?
Love that. I love that, actually. We're going to end it right there with that last word. I hope you guys take that to heart. With that being said, guys, thank you. That was the 5 tips to create top performing reels from myself and Amy of The Social Mind. I hope you guys got some value from what we just shared. Take it, and as I always say, practice it yourself and help you step your gram up. If you got any value from this conversation, and I know that you did, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, smash the subscribe button as well, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you can be reminded of when all of my latest videos are published onto my channel. If you're looking for more great content all about Reels, such as the Reels bonus program, I got you. Check out the video on the screen so that you can learn more about how to get into that program and so much more. Until the next time, guys, you know what to do. Step your gram up, and I'll see you in the next video.